Okay, now let us start internal respiration, that is aerobic and anaerobic in detail. We start with first aerobic respiration. See what happens in cells. First, glucose. You know that the formula of glucose, 6 molecules of carbon. Means 6 molecules of carbon, C6H12O6, you know it. One glucose in the cytoplasm, of cell, it is degraded into pyruvates, all known as pyruvic acid. This is 3 carbon molecule. Pyruvate, also called pyruvic acid, having 3 carbon molecules. Means glucose undergoes degradation in cytoplasm, converts into pyruvate having 3 carbon molecules. And in presence of oxygen, that is in mitochondria, inside the mitochondria, it produces carbon dioxide, water, and a high amount of energy. I told you that 38 atom of ATP energy is produced. This reaction takes place in aerobic respiration, during aerobic respiration. Now see what happened during anaerobic respiration. During anaerobic respiration, see, during anaerobic respiration, the first common step is what? Glucose, 6 molecules of carbon degraded in cytoplasm and converts into pyruvate known as pyruvic acid having 3 carbon molecules. Now what happened? In aerobic, you have seen that after that the reaction takes place in mitochondria. Here there is no mitochondria. In absence of oxygen, we divide it into 2 parts. In absence of oxygen, suppose in yeast, if it takes place in yeast means animals, and plant, and in animals we will learn later that in absence of oxygen in yeast, ethanol, carbon dioxide, and only less amount of energy. What happened? Ethanol is produced, carbon dioxide is produced, and less amount of energy is produced. Only 2 atom of ATP energy. Ethanol is called 2 carbon molecules. Having 2 carbon molecules is called ethanol. So this takes place in yeast. Now what happened in muscle cells, means animal cells? In absence of oxygen in muscle cells, in absence of oxygen in muscle cells, in some cases when you are totally tired or fatigued, at that time in your muscles oxygen availability decreases. Then it undergoes anaerobic reaction in your muscle cells. Glucose undergoes pyruvate, and in absence of oxygen in the muscle cells, lactic acid is produced. Lactic acid is produced and less amount of energy is released. You know that how much? 2 atom of ATP energy is released. Okay, lactic acid is also having 3 carbon molecules, but it is degraded form of pyruvic acid. Okay, this is about aerobic and anaerobic. Now see, respiration in human being, the most important topic of this respiration. See, the structure. In human being, respiration is done with the help of nose. Inside the nose, nostrils are there. Nostrils contains hairs and mucous membrane. Now here, it passes through trachea. Larynx is there. Pharynx is there. Then it divides into lungs, this is called bronchus. Now bronchus divided into bronchioles. At the end of the bronchiole, there is a sac-like structure, a small, which is seen only in microscope. This sac-like structure is known as alveoli sac. Alveoli sac expand its surface area, and so oxygen is absorbed. Here, the space for heart. This is diaphragm. We will see the function of diaphragm also. Here, surrounding it, there is the rib cage. See the leveling. Nose. Trachea, larynx, pharynx. On this pharynx, there is also a lead-like structure known as epiglottis. This is rib cage. Here, rings of cartilage, lungs, bronchus. Here the fine parts of bronchus are called bronchioles. And the end part of the bronchiole is known as alveoli sac. This is diaphragm. See, trachea. Trachea means also known as windpipe. In the nose, in both the nostrils, hairs are there and mucus are there. Hair and mucus try to control the bacteria and dust particle. Here there is a pharynx. Along with the pharynx there is epiglottis. In the mirror, when you say ah, then inside it a small structure you can see. This small structure is known as epiglottis. It's just like a lead. Two pipes are there like this. Suppose this is the windpipe and this is the small one is called food pipe. On the food pipe there is a ductan, means lead, known as epiglottis. Okay. So when you say ah, etc., then this epiglottis moves up. Okay, and while you eat, then it moves, it flaps on the food pipe. So here, food enters into the food pipe. This is the trachea, windpipe. On the windpipe, there is epiglottis. So food doesn't enter into the windpipe because of epiglottis. Okay, we will learn the function of this respiratory system in human being. Okay, now breathing mechanism in human being. You have learned the structure. Now breathing mechanism, how we breathe. So air enters into the nose. Through the nose it enters into the pharynx. There is epiglottis. We explain this. Then larynx. Larynx is also known as voice box. Below the larynx there is the bronchus. Here you can see the rings of cartilage. The question, why there is a rings of cartilage? So that rings prevent the bronchus. If suppose there is no air in the bronchus, in the trachea, then if there are no rings of cartilage, then this trachea and bronchus collapse. So to avoid this collapsing, there is rings of cartilage. Now this bronchus converts or divide into bronchioles when it entered into the lungs. Okay, the fine vessels are known as bronchioles. At each end of the vessel, there is on the tip of the vessel, there is a sac-like structure known as alveoli sac. Now what happens during breathing? Because you know that we naturally breathe without applying any external effort. See, two steps are there. First is inhalation. And the second step is exhalation. Inhalation is also known as inspiration. Exhalation is known as expiration. Now here your geographical law or rule is applied. First rule is diffusion, and second rule, air always passes from high pressure to low pressure. Now see what happens when you breathe, when you inhale. When you take air, means when you inhale, then what happens? Your chest cavity increases. Like this, your chest cavity increases. When chest cavity increases, then air pressure decreases. Remember this thing. Chest cavity increases, air pressure decreases. At that time, diaphragm moves up. When you up your diaphragm, then chest cavity increases. If chest cavity increases, then air pressure decreases, because air gets sufficient and more than sufficient space inside the chest cavity, and so the pressure inside decreases. Whereas in the outside, there is a high pressure. So you know that from high pressure to low pressure, air enters. So naturally we inhale. Now exactly opposite thing happen here. Here during exhalation, chest cavity decreases. If chest cavity decreases, then air needs only small space, whereas high pressure is inside it. So air pressure increases. And diaphragm moves down. इसका मीनिंग कैसे हमें एक्सप्लेन अगर करना है हमको, तो एज फॉर एग्जाम्पल वी कैन एक्सप्लेन इट. सपोज in this room there is 1,000 cubic centimeter air is there. If you expand the room, then amount of air is remain same, that is 1,000 cubic centimeter. Okay, and this 1,000 cubic centimeter air now accommodate in a big room, not only this small, and that's why we say that chest cavity increases, pressure decreases. If pressure decreases inside the chest cavity, then from outside high pressure to low pressure air rushes, which we call inhalation. The exactly opposite thing is happen during exhalation, that is expiration, that chest cavity decreases. If chest cavity decreases, suppose this room becomes small, then the 1,000 cubic centimeter air exert more pressure on the walls of the room. That's why we said that air pressure increases inside it. So high pressure is there inside the chest and low pressure is outside. So from high pressure to low pressure, air rushes out. So at that time diaphragm moves down. So we said that this is exhalation. This is the natural inhalation and exhalation breathing mechanism in human being. Okay? Remember one thing, that our respiratory pigment is hemoglobin. You know that hemoglobin is found in RBC, red blood corpuscles. One line question, respiratory pigment is hemoglobin. Because of hemoglobin, air or oxygen is absorbed and then it moves to heart for purification. Now we are going to learn about transportation of heart. Let us start transportation in human being. You know the word transportation means what? Transportation means from one place to another place. Now in human body, when any nutrients or waste material, when it transforms from one place to another place, then we need some basic material. The basic material required for the transportation is blood. You know that blood contains mainly plasma. Inside the plasma there are platelets, RBC, red blood corpuscles, WBC, white blood corpuscles, etc. Hemoglobins are also there, which is called respiratory pigment. Now, in the plasma, all these nutrients and waste material like nitrogenous substance, carbon dioxide, etc., it absorb it, carry this waste material towards the kidney for the excretion. Nutrients, oxygen, etc., good material, required material, it is transferred from different organs of the body to the heart for purification. Means we need a pump which is called heart, which purified this blood. What is called purification? What is the structure of heart? How the blood purified in the heart? All this topic we are going to learn in this transportation. So first we start with pump of the body, very well known, heart. What is the shape of the heart? Shape of the heart is conical. Location of the heart inside the rib cage. Slightly at left side. And the size of the heart is equals to your fist, your closed fist. Your heart is equals to your closed fist. Okay? Now, structure of heart. See how to draw heart. It is an also art. See, it is very easy to draw this heart shape. You are used to draw it. Then cut this. Join. You know that human being have 4 chambered heart. So one chamber, another chamber, 1, 2, 3, 4. This 4 chamber is divided by septum or septa. My right side means someone's left side. Opposite is called, this is upper 2 chambers are known as auricle or atrium. This is called left atrium. This is lower 2 chambers are called ventricles. This is left ventricle. Here this is right atrium, and this one is left atrium. Between right atrium and left atrium there are tricuspid valve, and here between left atrium and left ventricle there are bicuspid valve. Bicuspid valve, here tricuspid valve, from the upper body deoxygenated blood enters into the right atrium through superior vena cava. Vena cava. And from the lower body it enters from here, that is called inferior vena cava. Another vena cava. This is inferior vena cava. Here it is a big aorta. Artery together form aorta, are silent. From here pulmonary artery. In Latin language, pulmo means heart. That's why the name is given pulmonary artery. This is pulmonary artery, which enter into the lungs, towards lungs. Here there is a semilunar valve which try to prevent the backward flow of blood. Here it is dorsal aorta. Dorsal means back side and ventral means front side. From here a small artery come up and which carry the pure blood towards the body. This is the structure of heart. Okay? Now let us start blood flow in heart. Most important topic, carry 4 mark, or called blood flow or oxygen flow in heart. See, this is superior vena cava, these two are, this is inferior vena cava. Superior vena cava carry the deoxygenated blood, means blood which does not contain oxygen, from upper part of the body, and the inferior vena cava carry and bring out deoxygenated blood from lower part of the body. This inferior vena cava from the back side of the heart, it enter and open here at this place. From back side it open here like this. Now blood enters into the right atrium. Okay, in this way. It exerts the force on tricuspid valve. Now when tricuspid valve open, blood enters into the left atrium. You know that heart is continuously pumping. The pumping is known as love dub. Because of the contraction and relaxation continuously or pumping, both the ventricles when contract, then this blood which is in the left atrium enter into the pulmonary artery. Here there is a semilunar valve so that blood does not fall down and deoxygenated blood moves towards the pulmonary artery. It enters into the lungs. Here in the lungs, carbon dioxide and waste gases releases and oxygen is absorbed. When oxygen is absorbed, then this is carried through the pulmonary vein, and this vein which contains oxygen. This oxygenated blood enters into the left atrium. Now it exerts the pressure on bicuspid valve. Here it exerts the pressure and the blood enters into the left ventricle. Once again, because of contraction and relaxation, when it contracts, ventricle contracts, then this blood jumps into the aorta. Remember this thing that here this is just like this. See, pulmonary artery means blood moves. See my hand, pulmonary artery moves in this direction, so blood moves in this direction. From the pulmonary vein, the blood enters into the left ventricle, and then from the back side it enters into the aorta. Now from the aorta through the different artery, it enters into the different parts of our body. Okay? Now remember this thing that blood from the outside enter into the heart and then it comes out towards the lungs. So once the blood comes out from the heart, once again through the pulmonary vein it enters into the blood and comes out from the aorta. So this circulation is known as double circulation. Blood flows in the heart 2 times. That's why it is known as double circulation. Okay? Once again I repeat. From the superior vena cava, deoxygenated blood from the upper part of the body, and from the inferior vena cava, deoxygenated blood from the lower part of the body enter into the right atrium, exert the pressure on the tricuspid valve, then it enters into the left atrium. When ventricle contracts, okay, when ventricle contracts totally, then blood jumps into the pulmonary artery and moves towards the lungs. It jumps into pulmonary artery, moves towards the lungs. It doesn't move backward side because semilunar valve is there. After that, in the lungs, it releases the carbon dioxide and other waste gases, and then it absorbs the oxygen. Pulmonary vein carry this oxygenated blood into the left atrium and then exert the pressure on bicuspid valve, and then it falls into the left ventricle. Once again, because of contraction of ventricles, it jumps into the aorta, and through the aorta, through the arteries, it moves towards the different parts of the body. Okay?